What's going on, y'all? It's the Caveman back at it again with another video, and happy 2021, happy new year. 2020 is finally over. 2020 was horrible. It was pretty much a mouthful of balls, but hopefully 2021 is a whole lot better for everybody on this earth, because 2020 was just horrible, even though 2021 feels no different. Hopefully in the next coming weeks or months, whatever it may be, 2021 is a whole lot better. I was gonna make a whole ass video about how we just, played the Dolphins, how the Week 17 game went, but we steamrolled them, and there really was not much to say at all. The Dolphins were absolutely embarrassed on national television, and it wasn't even close. We had our backups in for the entire second half, and the Dolphins defense was supposedly so good, so scary, could not stop shit. Antonio Williams was a literal bowling bulldozer wrecking ball back there. He had 2 touchdowns. I mean, like, Matt Barkley was throwing touchdowns. I mean, everybody, touchdown for you, touchdown for you. I mean, everybody had a touchdown. There was not even really much to say about that game. I mean, that was just obliteration on every single front by the Bills. It was just a murder. The way things played out yesterday with our game and the other games around the league, we are now playing the Indianapolis Colts in the wildcard round, the team that we had the least amount of probability to play against. I believe that's true. I don't quote me on that, but I think there was a smaller chance to play them than there was compared to the other teams that we had a potential chance of playing. And of course, they were the team that, if you watched my last video, that I wanted to play the least out of the 5. But before I dive into the analysis of the game, I wanted to acknowledge, I've been, supporting the Colts for a little bit now, and I really like the Colts. I like what they're doing over there, and I have a couple Colts fans that watch these videos. And apparently, I didn't even know this until I sat down to record. I was, scrolling through my Twitter feed, and the Colts needed us to beat the Dolphins to get into the playoffs, and we did do that, and they donated to the Oshai Patricia Allen, the fund that has been going crazy over here in Buffalo, and a lot of Colts fans donated to that, and the Oshai Twitter page, tweeted that out and said thank you to Colts fans. So that was really great. Another reason to like Colts fans, another reason to like the Colts, right? But anyway, like I said, I have been supporting the Colts a little bit now. I've been liking what they're doing. They have been looking dangerous as of late, on a couple fronts at least, but I'll get to that in a couple minutes. Even though they were the team I wanted to play the least, they aren't necessarily, scaring me. I think out of the 5, they do scare me the most. But like I said in my last video as well, like I said, overall, the Buffalo Bills should not have a problem with really anybody on this list, realistically. No matter who we play in the first round, I feel like the way the Bills have been playing, there really should be no reason why we lose this game, no matter who it's against. We have been just playing on a whole nother level out of this world. To think that we could lose in this game, it's definitely possible, but it would be an ultimate disappointment on a lot of levels for so many people in Buffalo. Like, that would be, to lose in this game would be ultimate disappointment, and it's possible, but I would really like to think it's not. So the Colts are an interesting team. Now, they have a couple losses on their resume that I feel like don't really deserve to be on there. They have a couple wins that are pretty impressive, and they have one particular guy on that offense that is really looking to be a threat to not only us, but whoever they play down the road in the next couple of years, and that's Jonathan Taylor. The guy has been an absolute menace this entire year. I mean, they finally decided to start giving him the ball, and the dude has been absolutely tearing teams to shreds. Like, it's not even close. This guy is blowing by teams on defense. He is turning on the burners, he's juking people out of their shoes, and he's going to the crib a lot, and he's putting up a lot of numbers, and it's scary. To give you a perspective, in the last 6 games for Jonathan Taylor, he has 741 rushing yards, 8 touchdowns, 6.2 yards per carry. Those are pretty damn good numbers. That's over 100 yards a game. That's pretty damn good if you ask me. And, if you know the Bills at all, if you have any kind of knowledge of the Bills, our weakest point of our defense is our run game. Now that we have a reputation of having a weaker run game, I don't believe that to be entirely true, but to say that isn't the weakest part of our defense is definitely, that would be stupid not to say. It definitely is the weakest part. Even last week, I mean, Jonathan Taylor just poured it on. 30 carries for 253 yards and 2 touchdowns against the Jaguars. He's the reason that the Colts beat the Jaguars, even though they had a 20-point lead. And Phillip Rivers, the other part of the offense that I used to think maybe could throw the ball a little bit, he has not been looking too hot. Phillip Rivers looks very uncomfortable, very, very sporadic. He just looks scared. Not scared. He looks just anxious back there. Not comfortable, I guess is the best way I could put it. Just very uncomfortable in the pocket. And it causes them to make a lot of mistakes that are, kind of costing them games, that are potentially putting games in the line for the Colts. And that's what happened against the Jaguars. I mean, Phillip Rivers just, for some reason, they started throwing the ball. I don't know why. And Phillip Rivers started doing Phillip Rivers things and was not looking too hot while doing it. So the key to the Bills here is just to make Phillip Rivers throw the ball. If they are down in the game, if the Colts do find themselves down in the game, later on in the game or down by a couple scores, and Jonathan Taylor can't be burning their own clock, then we won't really have an issue. I would like to think Phillip Rivers is, he has a very bad reputation in the playoffs, even though he's got a change of scenery over here in Indianapolis, and he has been having a pretty decent year. I don't know if he has it in him to be able to put a couple drives together where he has to throw the ball and make a comeback, or, keep the team in the game when Jonathan Taylor isn't able to do it. But who knows? I mean, maybe he pulls something out of his ass. But what we have seen as of late, especially against the Jaguars and even against the Steelers when they had to throw the ball, he has not looked too hot. He just looked very uncomfortable. So the objective for the Bills defense and the Bills as a whole is to keep the ball out of Jonathan Taylor's hands and make sure Phillip Rivers is the one throwing the ball around. And even just as good as the Colts have been as of late, like the Bills have just been like, it's no knock to the Colts whatsoever. Like I said, like I've been a fan of the Colts since I made that video not too long ago about how like I've just been liking what they've been doing, and I think they are a very good team. But just the way the Bills have been playing, just not even from a bias standpoint, like there's a graphic that I found on Twitter as well. I'm going to throw it up on screen here. I mean, the Bills in the last 6 games since week 12 were 6-0 with 38.2 points per game, and we have a point differential of plus 119. That is absolutely absurd. Like those stats are just absurd. They are absurd. Even for the Colts, like their stats out since week 12 are not even that bad. 4-2 with 29.2 points per game with a plus 21. I mean, those aren't bad stats by any means at all, but the Bills are just, we should have a bye. That's really what it should be. Like, I honestly feel bad the Colts have to come against probably the second best team in the NFL right now in the first round of the playoffs. And honestly, we should have a bye. We really should. I understand the NFL is a week-to-week league. Anything can happen, but just the level that we've been playing at, to think that we can lose this game would be pretty brutal. And we just have to make sure that Jonathan Taylor is not able to, keep the Colts in the game. We need to make sure that as good as the Colts defense is, that our offense is able to go out there, put up points, and make sure Phillip Rivers is the one having to do the offense, to do the playing for the Colts, and just make sure the ball is in his hands so that the fate of our destiny, relies on Phillip Rivers' hands. I don't mind that at all. Now, of course, how ironic is it that I've been supporting the Colts for a little bit now? They were the team that we were going to least play against, and of course, who are we going up against? The freaking Colts, the team that I did not want to play against, but nevertheless, it is what it is. The Bills should be able to take care of business. We have been playing out of this world, absolutely insane. The Buffalo Bills should be all right in this game. We should be able to move on to the second round. Honestly, the way that the Titans played too, like I was talking to a couple of my friends during the game, their defense is so abysmal. They blew a lead as well as the Colts did, and they barely squeaked out of that one. So between the Titans and the Colts, I was a little on the fence about who I'd rather play, watching the Colts kind of let their lead disintegrate against the Jaguars, but then at the same time, we watched the Titans disintegrate a lead against the Texans and almost lose that game. The Colts did not come as close to losing their game as the Titans did. The Titans had over 200 yards rushing, and they almost lost their I almost said hockey game, their football game. I don't know how that's even possible. I don't know how you have over 200 yards rushing and literally come down to a game-winning field goal. The Colts, had over 200 yards rushing, and it did not come down to a game-winning field goal. So, that just shows a difference in defense. The Texans have a better offense than the Jaguars do, but still, like, to think that you had, 35 points put up on you? I mean, that's just brutal. Or no, 38 points. I think it was 38, right? I don't know. Their pass defense is just so abysmal, whereas the Colts defense is very good. So that is the biggest difference between the two teams. The offense for the Colts, they have a very good rushing attack, whereas the Titans have a very good rushing attack. I think the Titans, as of late, have been able to throw the ball a little better than the Colts have, but the defense for the Colts just makes up for anything that the Titans have on offense because the Titans have no defense whatsoever. But anyway, whatever. We're looking forward to the game on Saturday, 1 o'clock. Colts, we will see you there. It will be a very good game nonetheless. I cannot wait for it. We've been waiting for this moment for a long time now. I want to wish you guys luck. It's going to be a very good game. No matter what happens, no matter what the outcome is, it's going to be a great game. And I will see you guys later. If you guys enjoyed the video, like, subscribe, do all the fun stuff, and I'll see y'all later in the next one. Peace.